Hello and welcome back to your South King County real estate update. My name is Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty at John L. Scott, and I am back to deliver your local real estate news for the week. I'll go ahead and jump right into the slides because, as usual, we have a bunch to cover today. All right, so just another reminder, I do have my Seahawk schedules in. So if you would like one, please let me know how I can get one to you. I have people that I normally send these out to on a regular mailing list. So if you have received one in the past, unless your address has changed, you don't have to worry about letting me know. But if you have not received one of these in the mail in the past, please let me know how I can get it to you. And what happened this week? As of, I think it came in last night, but we actually got to access the document today. The condo that I am pending on with my buyers, we had the appraisal done a couple days ago. Appraiser reached out to me to request the resale certificate, which is something that they need to review when pricing out a condo. So the resale certificate has a whole bunch of information in it. If you're looking at buying a condo, this is a very important document. It has all the meeting minutes, budget stuff, any projected projects for the condo establishment, which really can affect possible assessments in the future. It can affect your bottom line quite a bit. So make sure to review those documents. But we had our appraisal come back today at value. So everything's good to go. I know there's been a lot of properties for February, March, April. There was a lot of properties that were coming in low appraisal. So that means that the appraiser said that it wasn't worth what somebody was willing to pay for it. But when we see prices increasing, it's such a strong rate like we did in January, February, March, April. That's something you kind of expect to see because the appraisal is based on past sales. So if they're looking at sales in the past and the market has increased, then the chances of a low appraisal are greater. Right now, we're in a market that's kind of evening out. We had that huge price appreciation at the beginning of the year, and now we're kind of starting to see that soften a little bit. Year over year, prices are still way up, but not at the increment that we saw a couple months ago. So that is really great news that our appraisal came back at value, and we can move forward with our transaction. So this came out a couple days ago from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. Brokers, home buyers welcome growing inventory and market returning to, quote, some sense of normalcy. This, as I said, came out a couple days ago. This is a review of last month's statistics. For June, we had the smallest year-over-year price increase since June 2020. So for a while, home prices were increasing at such an incredible rate, and now that rate is starting to top off and not increase at such a huge rate anymore for the year-over-year prices. In general terms, there are more houses on the market, longer market times, stabilizing home prices, fewer showings and open house visitors, fewer offers at one time, and more price adjustments. We're actually far above the active listings that we were a year ago, like significantly. At the end of June, there were 13,405 active listings for a single family and condominium. If we compare that to a year ago, it was 6,358. So more than double on active listings from a year ago. And pending sales and closed sales are both down. Pending sales are down 27.5% from a year ago. That is a pretty huge decrease on those pending sales. On the area overall, we had a 10.4 increase in median price up to $650. That is smallest year-over-year gain since June 2020 when prices rose 5.7%. We're not quite where we were at the beginning of the pandemic, but we're getting closer to that number as far as price increases year over year. King County had the second highest price last month, coming in at $851, up 9.1 from a year ago, but a slight decline, 3.4% from May's figure. So we are seeing price retraction a little bit. J. Lennox Scott, the chairman and CEO of John L. Scott, said the intensity adjustment in the Puget Sound market, while noting sales activity remains strong. Everything is coming together for buyers in the market, with increased selection and available listings, fewer multiple offer situations to navigate. A strong contingent of buyers is taking note of new listings and poised to put an offer in on the right home in the right condition at the right price. This is kind of along those similar lines as the last article. King Pierce County home prices fall as sellers come, quote, back down to earth. More houses are sitting on the market for a little bit longer, giving people more options to choose from. Things aren't flying off in a single weekend like they were for what seemed like a long time. This trend is pointing to a cool down for the market, but it's not, we're still quite a ways from having a, quote, buyer's market by definition. While situations are way better for buyers now than they were a few months ago, we're not to that buyer's market point where months of inventory would be 4 to 6 months. In King Pierce and Kitsap County, twice as many homes were still for sale at the end of June than at the same time last year. So that is a pretty huge inventory increase over the course of the year. So you can see on this graph here, this is the 4-county Puget Sound region. We have gone up on prices in all metrics, but we have come down from where we were in April and May, with the exception of Kitsap, which is defying all the rules right now. But for the rest of this region, we saw a huge price increase from January to May, April, May, and then we've seen a little bit of a come down off of that high. Here's home sales and condo sales for King County. For single family homes, closed sales is down in all regions, and median prices is only down in North King County. Everywhere else it is up. So prices have increased since last year, and closed sales have decreased for the majority of the region for single family and condo. And if we look at house sales by submarket, these are year over year price increases. The darker the red, the more price increase there is. Earlier this year, this was all dark red. If you look back to a few of the January, February, March updates, this whole region is in the dark red. So now we're down to the most of the region being in 10 to 20% appreciation. With a few outliers above and below, but mostly in South King County here especially, it is 10 to 20% increase year over year. Months of inventory has come up significantly, but we're well away from the 4 to 6 months that we would expect to consider a balanced market. Right now we are over a month, and it's been a while since we've had over a month of inventory. So that is good to see for buyers. I thought this was really interesting. This doesn't call out specifically South King County, but I thought this was really interesting to highlight. Sellers are coming to grips with the shift too. In May, sellers dropped prices 27% of listings in Seattle, 48% in Tacoma, 54% in Everett, and 36% in Bremerton. So these price reductions are becoming far more common. Some homeowners think, quote, they're still in the market that we had as February, March, April of this year, which it isn't. It's evidence of sellers coming back down to earth. So a lot of sellers saw those sales in April, priced their house to match that, and they're now having to do a price reduction because of buyer pushback on those prices. I'm going to go through a couple quotes here just because I thought they were very telling for what's going on right now. This is from Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American. We should start to see less competition, fewer bidding wars, and therefore less upward price pressure. In fact, a simple analysis shows that a 1-month increase in month supply results in a 3% decline in annual house price growth. And our preliminary house price index is already showing moderation in house prices in April. Here's a couple more. This is David Ramsey, personal finance personality. The root issue of what drives home prices almost always is supply and demand. Now interest rates affect that. When interest rates go up, guess what? Fewer buyers. The demand goes down, thus prices are going to soften or not be as cray-cray as they have been. And that's what we're seeing right now. And then there was this one from Realtor.com. Experts don't believe that the market is in a bubble or a crash is in the cards, like during the Great Recession. The nation is still suffering from a housing shortage that has reached crisis proportions at a time when many millennials are reaching the age when they start to consider homeownership, and that's likely to keep prices high. This is the current updated price projection for the coming years. They expect the price appreciation year over year, December to December, to be 9.3% for 2022 and 4.19 the next year. And you can see the 3 to 4% heading forward towards 2026. Obviously, a lot can happen between now and 2026, but this is the current projection. And why? Why are those home prices going to remain high? We're possibly going into a recession and interest rates are high. So single family housing, this is new single family homes completed since 1970. And leading up to the Great Recession here, we had a lot of homes built. And then since 2008, we really have not had much going on as far as construction until 2020. We were kind of reaching that midline again for the average units completed over a historically long period of time. Supply and demand is basically what's playing out here. We haven't created enough supply. Demand is high. A lot of millennials are aging into that home buying age, and there's nothing for them to look at. So we got to build more throughout our entire nation. And if we look at home showings in North America, we did tick up slightly from the 4th of July weekend, but really not very much compared to what we've seen over the past few years. And that brings us to our market stat minute. We had 998 new listings in King County in the last 7 days, 605 pendings, and 609 sold. Our new listings did bounce back up from that July 4th weekend, but pendings and solds have all ticked down. If we look back, we can see the blue line far below the orange line. So the new listings far below the pendings going back towards the beginning of the pandemic. And we're starting to see that very much the opposite. So this is showing that there's more inventory available for buyers to choose from. For our local breakdowns, in every area, we did have more new listings than pendings, but in Renton and Auburn, that is far more extreme than Kent and Federal Way. So if you're looking to purchase a home, maybe check out Auburn or Renton in the South End, and you'll have a little bit more to choose from. For Southeast King County, this is our monthly update from J. Lennox Scott, our chairman and CEO. We have overall of 1.5 months of inventory. I don't remember the last time I saw a number this big on overall months of inventory, but it has increased significantly. There is still a shortage of supply, just meaning that we are not in a balanced market. We don't have that 4 to 6 months of inventory here, but we are headed much closer to that direction than we were a couple months ago. Southwest King County, it's 1.2 months supply. About 74% of homes are still going pending in the first 30 days. And last week, our weekly average mortgage rate was 5.7. And this week it says, oh my goodness, this is the big retreat at 5.3. However, as I'll get to in a second, take this with a grain of salt. Just want to point this out. Mortgage applications have declined 17% from last year, and refinancings are down 78% from last year just because of that increased rate. And if we bring it to today, we're actually at 5.84, according to Mortgage News Daily. So we had dipped pretty far down and then jumped back up. And don't trust this week's mortgage rate headlines, except for this one. So that whole 5.3 rate for this week, that is not that it's inaccurate, it's just not timely. Freddie reports its survey results on Thursday, but it collects most of its responses on Monday and Tuesday. It sends out a survey and receives most of those back within 24 hours. And then they spend Tuesday, Wednesday compiling that data and put the article out Thursday. So basically what we get is a Monday to Monday comparison, or Monday, Tuesday to Monday, Tuesday comparison on our weekly average that we hear about in the news articles. But this one, it brings it to today, and rates do change every day. And normally looking at rates once a week wouldn't be that big of a deal. Normally that would be sufficient. But when things are so volatile like they are right now, you really need to look at the day-to-day rate. If you're looking at purchasing a home, be watching that and like make sure to lock in your rate when if you see things volatile. I just recommend locking your rate in early. If rates do go down in the future, you can always refinance. So you can see the mortgage-backed security prices and mortgage rates, they kind of have this inverse relationship. Q1 was headed towards this X here, and they crossed paths at the beginning of Q2, end of Q1, and we are now seeing those higher mortgage rates. And just a reminder, I do have my summer 2022 buyer and seller guides available. So if you are thinking about buying or selling this year, please reach out. I would love to get you this fantastic information, easy to read guide, great graphics. Just let me know and I can send one your way. And one last reminder, my Seahawk schedules are in. So if you would like one, please let me know how to get it to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My phone number and email address are on the screen there. I would love to have a conversation with you about the market in your area or an area you're interested in. There is a lot going on in the market right now, and it is very area specific. So if you're thinking about possibly selling or buying in the near future, let's sit down and have a conversation about what's happening in that specific area. Thank you so much for joining me for your South King County real estate update. I will be back here next week at 3 p.m. with your local real estate news. I will see you then. Have a great week.